Welcome to Dawgs versus All Y'all, a weekly college football podcast where we discuss not only my favorite team, the Georgia Bulldogs, but we talk all things college football, hence all y'all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and look us up on Instagram at SuplexDinnerClub. And go Dogs. Yo, what's happening, y'all? Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to update our hunting season 12 to determine who are the 12 best teams in college football. And of course, we got to talk about the clash of the Titans, Georgia, Alabama. New episode, Dawgs versus All Y'all. Let's get it. It's already conference championship week. We have 4 undefeated teams. Y'all know what time it is. Let's get to the list.
We ain't getting hunted, guys. We're doing the hunting, and hunting season's almost over. We only got one more chance to hunt, and we hunted tonight.
All right, new entry to the hunting season 12. This was a team I told y'all to look out for. Shout out to the Tulane Green Wave. They're our number 12 team. They go into the weekend possibly winning their conference. Number 11 is going to be Penn State, followed by 10, Ole Miss. Number 9 is going to be Mizzou. The Tigers are probably the biggest surprise of the SEC this season. They put together a very talented team, pulled out some wins, and wound up building a great season. Shout out to Coach Drink. Number 8, Alabama. This is a talented team. This is a scary team. You can never count out Coach Saban. I told y'all at the beginning of the year, I told you after that Texas loss, you can never count out the GOAT. They play defense. They run the ball well. After escaping Auburn, these guys are focused on the conference championship and hopefully upsetting Georgia and making it to the playoff with a chance to win it all. Number 7, Ohio State. We got to give Ohio State some credit. A lot of us, myself included, question Ohio State's toughness. This entire season, their defense has come to play. In fact, their defense have kept them in a lot of games. They had a shot to beat Michigan, but Ohio State is number 7. Next is the top 6. Number 6 is going to be the Oregon Ducks. They have been absolutely railroading teams, scoring points, stopping the opposition. The pathway is in front of them. You got to run it back against Washington, a team that I thought y'all should have beat them the first time, but what better time than now? I thought Oregon had a legitimate shot at making the playoff, and now it's right there. It's right there in front of them. Friday night, you got the Ducks versus the Huskies in a highly anticipated rematch. While one team is on the rise in Oregon since they've last faced each other, Washington's been playing around. We're going to see. We're going to see how this rematch shakes out. I'm still convinced that the Ducks make the playoffs. And with a great performance in leading your team to the playoff, I believe that this is going to be the game where Bo Nix wins the Heisman. Number 5 is going to be Texas. They look good. They took care of business. They didn't play around. They ran the score up, just like a top team is supposed to do. Don't play with your food. Take care of business, shut it down. Think about this. If Texas would have taken care of business against Oklahoma and remained undefeated going into conference championship weekend, we would have had a huge problem on our hands. I still think it's room for chaos just because they are a one-loss team. Texas is going to go into the weekend facing Oklahoma State for the Big 12 championship. Is this a case of you win and you're in? I don't know. Y'all let me know down below. Number 4 is going to be Washington. I already said it before. Washington has been trending downward, but we have to give them credit. They are undefeated, and they keep finding ways to win. Friday is going to be must-see TV. I still think Oregon is going to win this go-round, but shout out to Washington. Shout out to Michael Penix for their second undefeated season in their school's history. That's huge. Another undefeated team, Florida State. They beat the Gators. It's always a great day if the Gators, Auburn, and Georgia Tech lose. So always a great weekend. So shout out to Florida State taking care of business. I think Louisville provides some challenges for Florida State, but they've been taking care of business. They're a focused, talented, very talented team. And your top two teams in the nation, Michigan, Georgia, both beat rivals this past weekend. Both are undefeated and headed toward their conference championships. Those two are eyeing playoff bids and hopefully a national championship. So the four undefeated teams, which one is most likely to take a loss this weekend? Let me know down below. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and of course look us up on socials at SuplexDinnerClub. And be sure to check out our other projects. We talk college football on Dawgs versus All Y'all. That's a weekly college football podcast where we don't just talk about the Georgia Bulldogs. We talk about all things college football. The Life and Times pod, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast, where I have some chill conversations with some cool and interesting people that I've met in my years in the hospitality industry. And of course, check out Talk 'em in the Building. That's a pro wrestling podcast where we solely focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype man, and we pontificate on the promo. It's a fun project, and if you're a pro wrestling fan, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. The Suplex Dinner Club family is growing, and I would love for you to be a part of it. Yo, this was inevitable. Georgia, Alabama, two dominant programs, two legendary coaches, two talented teams, and two hungry, rabid, and sometimes annoying fan bases. This is going to be an awesome game. I cannot wait. I love how both teams match up. I love the stories behind both teams. You have Georgia with a three-peat on their mind, and you got Alabama hoping to reclaim the glory that they feel they rightfully deserve. This is a matchup of two of the most dominant programs in college football. Alabama provides a number of issues, a number of potential challenges for this Georgia team. The biggest one, number one, a running quarterback. Jalen Milroe is a freak show, man. He's fast, he's physical, he pulls plays out of nowhere. He's their magic man, for sure. I mean, look at the last game. Look at what happened against Auburn. It's insane. The Tide have been running the ball extremely well, getting the ball to three to four backs at this point. And while there are still concerns about that offensive line, those guys are still putting together some really good, dominant performances. Really interested to see that matchup against Georgia. And defensively, you know what time it is. It's Nick Saban. He's going to have a dominant front seven. Dallas Turner is one of the most talented guys I've ever seen on the edge. He may not have the full stats of a Will Anderson and all of that, but you could tell when he turns it on, he's a problem. He's definitely a problem. Alabama's a really talented team. If you're looking for me just to be on here slandering Alabama and all of that, I'm not going to do it. Everyone knows I'm a diehard Georgia fan. Hell, the name of the podcast is Dawgs versus All Y'all. But I'm going to tell y'all, this is a talented Alabama team. I said at the beginning of the year, I said it after they lost to Texas. You can never count out Nick Saban. You can never count out the Crimson Tide. So shout out to them for rebounding after not only that Texas loss, but what should have been a loss at South Florida. That literally could have been the end of the season. But those guys put together some good performances. They came together as a team, and they took care of business, man. You can't help but tip your cap to Coach Saban for the coaching job this season. I know they have one of the most talented teams in college football, blue chip ratio, all of that stuff. But it's one thing about momentum and building confidence. There were a lot of questions after weeks 2 and 3 of the college football season for Alabama. I saw a lot of Alabama fans counting them out. You can never count out the GOAT. You can never count out the GOAT. It's as simple as that. And on Georgia's end, the offense is rolling. Mike Bobo is dialing them up. Think about Think about the Tech game. We didn't have Brock Bowers, Lat McConkey, Ra Thomas, and Tate Ratledge. So we essentially didn't have four starters and was still scoring at will. Aside from some very suspect officiating against Georgia Tech, they were still moving the ball. They were still scoring very well. Carson Beck's stat line doesn't tell the full story. That first interception was more so a receiver dropping the ball. The second one was definitely on Carson. I don't know what window he was looking at, but I'll give him that interception. But you could tell that Carson's playing with confidence, and that should absolutely be scary for Alabama. My main question, my main concern going into this game is whether or not Georgia's defense is capable of stopping running on the edge and a mobile quarterback. Jalen Milroe is absolutely capable of exploiting this. We saw it against Auburn. We saw a little bit of it against Mizzou, and we definitely saw it against Georgia Tech. A mobile quarterback can make things very tricky for that defense, unfortunately. Our defensive line as a whole has been solid, but they're leaving a lot to be desired. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be absolutely unbiased, even though I'm a Georgia diehard. I'm going to be honest. I see it. I got to say it. And on the edge, those guys haven't really broken out. So I do expect Alabama to try to exploit this. Hell, if they're trying to win, that's their best bet. But the deciding factor in this game is ultimately going to be the quarterback play. You have two dominant teams, two very, very talented teams. I'm going to revert to which quarterback's better, which quarterback is playing with more confidence, which quarterback can I depend on more. And that's Carson Beck. Week after week, Carson's been growing more and more confident. You can tell he's taking shots where week 1 and week 2, that wasn't so much the case. You just know that both Brock Bowers and Lat McConkey are going to be there, ready to rock and roll come Saturday. It's going to literally take a natural disaster, knock on wood, to keep them away from that field. I like the plays. I like the players on the outside for Georgia. I like the matchups against those talented Alabama DBs. And for that reason, I got Georgia winning the SEC championship, moving on into the playoffs as the number 1 team. Final score, Alabama 34, Georgia 41. This game really feels like this is ultimately going to be the national championship, in my opinion. Yes, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington are all undefeated and all very talented in their own right. But make no mistake about it. In terms of talent and momentum, this is a matchup between the two best teams in college football. And I cannot wait to watch it. And that's a wrap, y'all. Thank you again for checking us out. Be sure to come back on Friday because I got 2 of the homies for another college football roundtable. We're going to talk some of the hot topics in college football. Of course, maybe Heisman, some of these coaching changes. And of course, we got to predict these conference championship games. So come back and holler at us. Be sure to follow Suplex Dinner Club. Y'all know what it is. Take care of each other. Have a wonderful weekend. And as always, go Dawgs.
Trust your preparation. No, your ass is prepared for this shit for fucking 365 days. I think about the fuckers in that locker room. Think about getting our opportunity. All the shit you went through this week to get ready for this game. Now is when you pay the fucking price. You go out there with energy, enthusiasm. Ain't nobody supposed to be cautious. Ain't nobody supposed to be nervous about shit. Go out here and fuck their ass up. Don't think about scoreboard. Don't think about shit. You think about knocking the shit out of them. Did you hear what Box said on Monday? When I sat in that fucking meeting, I wanted to go fucking play right then. Tore your shit up out here. 2 years ago, fuck your shit up. Goddamn pride and joy tells me you fuck these guys up. You go play the right way. You play the right way. You knock their ass off. You stay off the fucking ground. You tackle the fucking man with the ball. The shit's easy. Look at the right shit. Punish their ass on offense and kick their ass on special teams, guys. It's about who the fuck we are. I believe in you. Let's go.